All right, let's go Detroit Lions with the win over the Indianapolis Colts, 24-6. The final here. Lions take care of business once again on the road, moving to 10-1. Colts fall to 5-7.
Colts gave it a good show, though. They gave it an effort.
They did. Another one, Anthony Richardson had that great game last week. Stat line was not great in this one, 11 of 28 for 172, but another one where he put some of his best throws fell incomplete.
Should have had a touchdown.
Yep, absolutely. And he had 61 yards on the ground, but the Lions have multiple ways to win, even if they're not lighting things up through the air. The run game was excellent. I got some stats on that in a minute here, but feels like the Colts had some opportunities here to make it a little bit closer.
Yeah, certainly early in the game as well. Who was it? Ogletree dropped what should have been a touchdown for them. They end up having to settle for a field goal, so that's it's one of those 4-point mistake plays for them.
Richardson, he had like a 35, 40-yard dime to Ashton Doolin too.
Yeah,
that he didn't stay in bounds. Like there are a couple of the really nice throws from Richardson that ended up falling incomplete.
One of the things I'm not certain of at the moment, I don't know if they have a ton of sort of read option type looks with him and Jonathan Taylor, which makes sense, right? I don't know how many of those. I don't know if they're actual read options or if they're just read option mechanics while the play is for Anthony Richardson to carry the ball. You know what I mean? But it feels like they need to give Taylor more of those handoffs. And maybe so there's a couple of options. Are they actually read option plays, or are they simply called runs for Richardson that have read option looks? Or are they actually read options and Richardson is pulling the ball more than he should be at the moment? Either way, I think they need to start giving the ball to Jonathan Taylor more on those plays because there's some open looks that they're instead keeping with Richardson and they're getting buried a bit more than they should. Like Jonathan Taylor is a top-tier running back. Give him the handoff on where it's open.
Yeah, theoretically that run game should be more effective with both of those guys in the backfield.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what that. And
I think the reason it isn't is because you see a lot of these plays where he's pulling the ball and it's not the right option. Now, if it's not an option, that makes sense because, it's not an option. It's his call. But if it is an option, you're making the wrong call there. Like, give it because the guy on the edge is not biting.
The other thing I wanted to highlight too, Richardson. Pretty effective on early downs, passing grade, PFF passing grade in the 70s. On fourth down was 48. Third and fourth down, sorry. Mostly on those third downs. Lions did a really nice job on third down, cracking down. That's why it felt like the Colts had some opportunities, but the Lions defense did a really nice job cracking down. They had Za'Darius Smith.
Another good game.
Yep, getting after it. And if you go back and just watch his pressures, it's kind of like what we talked about when they picked him up. He's not a direct Aiden Hutchinson replacement. He's a move all over the place replacement. And Aaron Glenn's using him in that way, which is a good sign, I think, for the Lions that you now have a weapon, movable pass rusher like Za'Darius Smith.
He's a really important pickup for them. Like, it's not a direct replacement for Aiden Hutchinson, but it is a guy that can offset at least a decent degree of the pressure you lose by not having Aiden Hutchinson there. So in this game, you had a significant presence from Za'Darius Smith along with a significant presence from Alim McNeill, and that's enough, right, against a pretty good team. So that's important. Like, you take him out of the lineup and suddenly Alim McNeill is leading the line as the only significant source of pass rush, and now it's like, it's probably a closer game. I think Za'Darius Smith is a really important pickup for this Detroit team who just gives them enough from a pass rushing standpoint. And then, maybe they could get Aiden Hutchinson back, get deep into the playoffs.
I know they initially said Super Bowl only for Hutch. So, I mean, that 2-week buffer, I guess, seems pretty important. I would love to see what that pass rush looks like because Alim McNeill was outstanding as well.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of interior pass rush from the Lions because of where Za'Darius Smith was lined up. Would love to see what that looks like with Hutch coming off the edge.
Yeah.
The other thing, so I had some people tweeting at me about the Lions' disrespectful runs. Remember, I made up this stat a few weeks ago. The disrespectful run. Just trying to be like Kyle Brandt here with angry runs.
Oh, yeah.
Lions will start handing out scepters for disrespectful runs here.
Okay.
So the disrespectful run that the Lions have mastered, we call it third or fourth down and 3 to 8 yards to go. I may have made the cutoff at 3 to 7. We'll call it 3 to 8 because there was a 3rd and 8 in this one.
Right.
3 to 8 yards to go. And the draw play is banned from a disrespectful run. You can't run the draw. because there's deception in there.
Right.
Right? The disrespect part is we're going to run a normal run concept. We're not going to make you think it's pass. We're just going to run right at you.
Yeah.
The Lions had 3 of these
Yeah.
that converted. 3rd and 8. Like 3rd and 8. We see these play cards that every coordinator has. You know what's not on everyone's 3rd and 8 play call?
Power.
Yeah. Duo.
Yeah.
Inside zone. But not Ben Johnson. They run duo. Duo's a 1st and 10, like, oh, let's get 3.
Yeah.
Let's just keep, stay ahead of the sticks here. 1st and 10, run duo. They run duo on 3rd and 8, and Jahmyr Gibbs picks up 17. Just moving people off the line, Gibbs picks up 17. They go 3rd and 6, shotgun, inside zone, David Montgomery for 13, and then 3rd and goal from the 5. From the 5! Of course it's a pass play. Nope. Inside zone to Jahmyr Gibbs. He bounces it outside for a 5-yard touchdown run. 3 disrespectful runs by the Lions, all converted, 1 for a touchdown. Awesome job by Gibbs, Montgomery, and that entire offensive line at the point of attack.
The Lions and the Eagles, I think, are the 2 teams who embody this idea of just keep leaning on them. Just keep leaning on them up front. At some point, we'll establish our will and dominate the trenches, and we're going to run the ball when they can't stop it and just grind them down. And they've been really good at that. The other thing that was interesting, though, remember we've been sort of talking about, like, if they win a game where Jared Goff throws 5 interceptions, like, how do you actually beat this team? What needs to happen for the Lions to lose a game, right? One thing that occurred, they had a 4th and 1 play, or I think it was 4th and 1, but they had a 4th down where they went for it and they didn't get it.
Zaire Franklin.
Yeah, really good play. It did occur to me that because of how aggressive they are with this stuff, they're going to give you a lot of high leverage plays that if you can show up on those plays alone, you can go a long way to chopping into the win percentage.
That's it.
The graph that shows win percentage for a team, it's going to start off with the Lions at like 75%, right? But they're going to give you a lot of huge swing plays that if you can just show up on those plays, you can really start chopping into that win percentage and swing it in your direction. Now, the Colts did it in one play here, and it didn't matter. But if you get 3 or 4 of those in a game, and you get all of them, it's obviously not easy for that to happen. The Lions are really good. But they're going to give you those high leverage shots that other teams won't.
That reminds me of the 2019 Ravens. That was Lamar's first MVP season. They were the best team in the NFL by far. The NFL had started to be more aggressive on 4th down. The Ravens were at the forefront of it. And going into the playoffs, they had the bye. They're playing the Titans. And what were they, like 12 for 15 on 4th downs? I mean, teams didn't go for it as much back then, but the Ravens were so good at it. And then you looked at Lamar Jackson, the runner, their offensive line, all the weapons that they had. It's like, well, how do you stop this team on 4th down? And in that particular game, the Titans stopped them on their first 2 4th downs. And it's like, well, variance caught up to the Ravens, and the Titans pulled the upset. Right. So, yes, if you're going to upset the Lions, you have to make some of those highlights.
And to be clear, I think the Lions are doing the right thing in doing that. I think the aggressiveness is maximizing their chance of winning those games, but it does mean that they are unusually susceptible to these massive swings in outcome if they just catch a crappy end of variance, in a specific game. Like, there are other teams that simply aren't going to give teams those opportunities to close win percentage gaps in such giant chunks. But in this game, it didn't matter. This was like a breakout game for all the rookie pass rushers. Chop Robinson absolutely dominated. Jared Verse was a beast against the Eagles, at least for stretches. Latu had a big game as well.
Yeah, he has a strip sack in there. I think the Lions recovered that, right? I mean, that's another one of those great play by the Colts. Right. If you're going to pull the upset, fumble luck, fumble bounces, which is what the Bucs had in week 1, by the way. I was back in week 2. I was trying to convey in week 2 when the Bucs beat the Lions, their only loss. I'm like, yeah, good win by the Bucs, but man, like, Baker fumbled twice and they recovered it. Like, the variance went the Bucs' way in that game against Detroit. Like, if you're going to pull the upset, you're going to need stuff to bounce your way. And the Colts didn't have that. But Latu did have a really nice game in this one.
Yep.
Rushing the passer better than before. Lions just have so many different ways to win. I love their run game.
Yeah.
They spread the ball around. Jamison Williams has 64 yards. Amon-Ra St.Brown has 62. Can't believe the league let the Lions have Tim Patrick with 55 yards on 4 catches as well. Montgomery coming out of the backfield with 36 yards. They just have so many ways to win.
Are we now setting up the optimal NFC championship game now is Detroit, Philadelphia?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
they're the team. They're the antidote, or they're the optimal dance partner, right? Like you look at Detroit and you're like, I really want to see Philadelphia take on this team. And then you look at Philadelphia and you're like, what happens when they run into Detroit? Like,
yes.
Given how good they are. It's the two Titans. They're the teams I want to see go up against each other.
In last year's NFC Championship, Lions 49ers was the right matchup as well.
Yeah.
Which
and
was
I know,
outstanding. It was a great game, obviously.
Minnesota's still winning. Green Bay obviously just stamped the 49ers. The 49ers, if they get everyone healthy, maybe. But like right now, the two Titans look to be Detroit, Philadelphia.
It does. Minnesota's going to have something to say about it. Green Bay is going to have something to say about it. Who knows if whoever comes out of the West just becomes like a difficult out in the playoffs. But yeah, Lions and Eagles looking like the clear best teams in the NFC, I would say right now. So good job by the Lions taking care of business here.
Thanks for watching all the way to the end of our video.
For more great content, click here to subscribe and here to watch another video. We'll see you again soon.